Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
All right, catch me up. I was out for a couple days. I don't know what happened in the world. A&M won a overtime game, a triple overtime game against LSU. Let's see, University of Texas loses to Ole Miss yesterday. Olin's hair continues to grow and looking more and more like a rock star. Let's go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Olin Buchanan, the rock star in Nashville. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. You know, an old rock star, you know, very old. But I'm doing well here in actually in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Okay. How far is that?
It's about it's about a 10-mile drive, maybe 15 up to downtown Nashville.
Okay.
But the hotel rates are much lower here than they are in downtown.
I bet they are. So let's talk about travels. Yesterday, you get into Nashville. It looks like you guys go straight to the arena. Got to catch the Ole Miss Texas game. Any other games you get to catch?
I think Luke and Callie stayed for the South Carolina Oklahoma game, and I think they were planning to do some things downtown after that game.
Oh.
I was planning to go to bed, so we did the scene setter. Watched Texas lose, and I just decided to head on back.
Well,
guys,
I do want to talk about the SEC tournament experience overall as we go on, but we'll obviously start off with this matchup, the third time to play Oklahoma, a team that has not lost since they played A&M. I think, is it 5 straight wins for them, I believe?
5 straight, yeah, now.
5 straight wins. And Nigel Pack, who played against A&M last game with only 6 points, he's a guy that you can't I don't know if you can expect that again, OB, especially the third time neutral site.
No, but you beat him the first time when he scored about 24. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he had a really productive game. We all know the cliche, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. Yeah, I guess it is. I think Florida is probably going to end up playing somebody 3 times, and I'm going to feel pretty confident that they're going to win. It's not supposed to be easy. I would still rather be the team coming into this game that has beaten your opponent twice than have lost to your opponent twice. So if A&M's shooting well, and maybe that sounds so obvious, right? Hey, you win by putting the ball through the hoop the most. So if A&M's shooting well, I feel like A&M will win. It's the whole thing, David. A&M's a deeper team. They're probably a better team. The results show it. If A&M plays its best game and Oklahoma plays its best game, A&M probably wins. If they both play average, A&M probably wins. But if Oklahoma plays a great game like they did last night, they shot 60% last night. So if Oklahoma is hot again and A&M doesn't match that, then they'll be very vulnerable. But all things statistically being relatively even, I would expect A&M to win.
Yeah, I would too. And I want to get into what the ideal scenario is for A&M OB overall, how long they stay in Nashville. What's ideal? I mean, it'd be great to win it. If you're gonna go to Nashville, you go to win. If you're gonna lose, should you lose early? Like there's a lot of different scenarios. I think you got to get one just to feel good. That being said, this matchup, OB, for A&M, I think going into this tournament, and Bucky talked about it at his press conference. I listened to it this morning. The ability to play loose, sometimes it's best to play, like Buzz's teams seem to play really good when they had to play good in these tournaments. Sometimes, though, for the style of basketball that Bucky's team plays, I think pressing is maybe the worst thing to do when you're just playing loose, playing inside of your system, knowing that your future is pretty much secured. I think you might see the best version of A&M basketball.
You could. I mean, there's a lot to be said for already being in the tournament. On the one hand, you say, yeah, if you're already in, maybe you're not as focused. But like you said, or you're just playing loose and, you can play without. I think Bucky said he felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off their shoulders, right? So you can play freely. Oklahoma, on the other hand, they're playing for survival.
Yep.
So I guess we'll just see who responds to their situation. I do know that if you believe what the Aggies are telling you, they're coming here to win and not just one game. I think Rashawn Agee actually said that. We're not going up there to win, to just play one game. We're going up there to try to win every game. And you got to admire and applaud that mentality. But the way I look at it is, I hope they get at least one win. But if they don't, it's like a paper cut. It just hurts a little bit, because there's bigger issues waiting for you.
Well, CBS, I think, is the only people that say that A&M is not a lock. They should get in, but they're not a lock to get in. Opie, they're a lock to get in, right?
When was the last time they said that?
A couple days ago.
I wonder if they said that before yesterday.
Yeah.
When all these bubble teams tons of them got beat.
Yeah.
I think A&M's tournament outlook got better yesterday without them even playing.
Well, they have
Texas being one of those.
Lenardi's got them as a 9 seed, taking on Ohio State as an 8 seed in Greenville, South Carolina. I don't see them getting much higher than a 9 or an 8 seed, OB, even if they win the SEC tournament. Maybe they could jump up to a 7. I doubt. I think they are where they are.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, David. You're probably right there. I always go back to 5 years ago in Tampa when they beat Florida and a ranked Auburn and a ranked Arkansas and then get to the final and still don't get in. So it makes me question just how much your conference tournament really factors into all that. But in the event that they win 4 in a row and cap it with a win over Florida, maybe that would boost their seeding 1 or 2, especially if you see some significant upsets. But I'm kind of with you. I'm thinking they're probably 9 or 10.
So for a while, the focus was on what happened in February. And then they win 2 straight, right? And you feel much better about their place. And I think of it like this, OB. With every victory here in the SEC tournament, look, it's only going to end one way. You win the whole thing or you're going to end it with a loss, right? But with every victory on the way to the NCAA tournament, that slump is further behind you.
Yeah, it was a slump, but let's also remember one of those losses was to Florida. Okay,
Yeah.
One of them was in double overtime on the road at Alabama by possession. One of them was by a point to Missouri. Yeah, they got beat by Vanderbilt pretty bad, and Texas got away from him. But that slump, a big part of that slump was just playing in the SEC. You're playing other good teams on the road too, and sometimes it's not going to go your way.
Do you buy that the SEC is down this year?
I don't think it's as good as it was last year. I don't know if I want to say down compared to last year. Yeah, down compared to other teams across other conferences across the country. Well, then who's up?
Right.
Yeah, the SEC, I think, has a 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 national championship contenders. You could say maybe, definitely Florida, maybe Alabama, and I still would be scared of Arkansas, right? But how many other conferences out there would you say, okay, they probably got 3 legitimate national championship contenders? Maybe more than I know.
Obi, in your opinion, what's the ideal stay for Nashville? Like how long, if we're talking about for an extended run in the NCAA tournament, what is ideal? Is ideal winning in Nashville and feeling that vibe and then going into a couple days rest and start? Is ideal 2 games and go home, rest your bodies, and get refocused?
I'm kind of thinking, ideal, and I don't want to sound like ideal is winning the whole thing. I will tell you what, I need a little more information, because if I knew that they were going to be playing on Thursday, I would think, maybe it's not a bad thing if you didn't even make the final, right? But if I'm playing on Friday, then I'm saying, hey, you got 5 days rest. That should be plenty, and without any rust creeping in. And by the way, at least, as we were talking about earlier, at least possibly your seeding gets better with each win. And but I would think, that's ideal. And then you could also say ideal is get me 2 wins. But I think if you get 1 win here, I don't think there's a bad scenario. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you
that's the good answer, though. That's the good answer. It'll be like, to me, ideally for me, for how I want to look at the tournament, I think regardless of what happens, I feel pretty good about how good this team can be in the tournament. I don't think that's going to change much. If I want to feel a little bit better, win this game, win Arkansas, and then I'm good, right? If you find a way to beat Arkansas, of course, you got to beat a red-hot Oklahoma team, and I'm not, discounting that at all. But I think if you win those 2 games, I'm like, dude, this team might win 2 games in the NCAA tournament. We may see a Sweet 16 run. I look at this team as, with the right matchup, and if they're hitting shots, they can beat anybody. Maybe except Florida.
Yeah. I mean, they beat Texas.
Yeah.
And, of course, Texas couldn't beat Ole Miss. But, hey, by the way, I know I'm getting off track here. Does Texas and Oklahoma now have the same record?
Yeah, and I think Oklahoma still has a chance to get in. Texas, the last I looked this morning, they were the last one in from Lenardi. Of the last 4 in, it was the last one listed. But does a 9-9 regular season SEC team who lost in the first round against a 13 seed, what was Ole Miss, 15 seed?
Yeah, down.
Yeah.
I mean,
do they get in?
And I'm not. They were 15.
And I'm not focusing on the name Texas. I'm just saying in general. Does an SEC team that's 9-9 in the regular season, losing their first round matchup against a very bad record-wise Ole Miss team, do they get in? If it were A&M, I would say I don't think you're getting in.
Where I'm going with this is I think they're both 18 and 14. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I might be wrong, but I think so.
Cooper's looking it up. I think you're right.
And Oklahoma's the hot team that have won 5 in a row, including beat Texas in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So they split that. So I guess what I'm getting at is, does Oklahoma, do they eliminate Texas? Don't you have to take Oklahoma if they beat A&M?
Yeah. You have to.
Don't you have to take Oklahoma over Texas?
Yeah.
It would seem like it, at least to me, but.
So that means Longhorn fans tonight are rooting for the Aggies.
All of the A&M fans are rooting for the Aggies.
No.
Oh, you're saying what? Texas fans?
Yeah. Longhorn fans tonight have to, between 2 evils in their mind, they go, look, we can't have Oklahoma keep winning because that could cost us our spot.
In the unlikely event that we happen to see some Texas fans still around and in the arena today, that might be a great question to ask them. Maybe we can even get them on camera.
Yeah. Hey, that's good content for Luke. By the way, I wish you were here, OB. It's only 212 degrees in the studio. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. It is just sweating pelotas.
You know what? And the biggest shock of all of that is so hot in the studio there, and you're wearing long sleeves when you have a perfect excuse to be in a medium T-shirt with the guns out.
Buddy, I went up running this morning. It was 42 degrees. I was going to wear a long sleeve shirt today no matter what. It was freezing out there. OB, help me out. I forgot. I've been gone for so long. What is the name of this show?
This is TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Now, you don't have the little background to help you right now. I don't know if you can see everything, so you may need a little help here.
All I can see is your face and the maroon backdrop.
And this studio, we gave it a name. We did.
Yeah, it's the Rollo Insurance Studio. Jason, Jackson, Keith, and Morgan, and the family.
And the family. And this hour, we've labeled it with a particular name as well. This is called the what?
The Go Hour.
Presented by the who?
Warehouse at CC Creations.
There we go. And typically we're hanging out over there, but it travels to Nashville and to the desk. It's called the?
Yeah, the Holistic Planning Cool Zone travels everywhere, and it's cool because nothing's cooler than making and keeping your money, especially at this time of year, because the IRS wants to take some of it, as I unfortunately know all too well.
This is right. This is true. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline, 979-693-1150. Or you could text us on the what?
The Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. Yes, that's PPE.
I love PPE. Let's go around the room and say hi to the people. Behind the glass and behind the television is Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, y'all. How's it going?
Good, man. You're busy this time of year.
Yeah, trying to stay busy. You know what else I really am this time of year?
What?
I hate Oklahoma, right? Because we play Oklahoma tonight. We got 3 games against Oklahoma this weekend up in Norman, Aggie baseball. Feels like they're our biggest rival right now.
For this weekend, by the way, could be great bragging rights on either side, right? Basketball and baseball. Let's go make it an Oklahoma takedown.
Sure, I'm down with that.
Oklahoma breakdown, cross-Canadian ragweed reference. OB might get it. David, I don't think you go to those meetings.
I don't go to those meetings.
The new CCR.
The new CCR. I'm more with the old.
Okay.
This is an awkward silence. All right.
Me too.
Yeah, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson working on spring break. What are you doing here? I told Dean the same thing. What are you here for?
Working.
Why? I like it. It shows, that you're going to be great one day, but
I didn't know I could take a trip, and so I had one planned a long time ago, and we canceled it, and now my family's in Paris, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not too upset that I'm not in Paris. So that's not a trip that interests me.
I told Cooper he could lie to me about being sick just to get some free time, and I wouldn't have cared. Yep. But here he is.
I was sick yesterday, actually sick yesterday.
Cooper's in Paris, so your family's there?
Yeah, they're there right now. They did like a croissant making class.
I think Nick's the only one who got that one. Anyway.
Oh, like the Emily in Paris reference? Oh, never mind. Oh, I know.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go Hove and Kanye on you. Yeah. Anyway, what do you have for us? Olin's like, I have no clue.
So I want to talk a little bit of football for a second. Go back about a year. We had a receiver from Texas Tech transfer named Micah Hudson.
I saw McGuire talking about him the other day, yeah.
Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire revealed on Tuesday that former 5-star receiver Micah Hudson was actually a walk-on in 2025.
Pause. OB. I know nothing. I know Micah was only here for a few weeks. He might be a great guy. I know nothing. I'm not talking about his character or anything about that. But I don't know if the thing walk-on is actually a thing anymore with NIL. I mean, it doesn't carry the same. It's not the same thing, right, OB?
Well, I don't know how they do things up there, but didn't A&M announce that they're funding everybody's scholarship now?
Yeah, not every school's doing that, but I would assume.
I don't know how it is at Texas Tech.
I mean, and I'm pretty sure he probably got paid for at least 10 days of work at A&M.
He probably got a little bit of money from A&M, but then all the comments were saying he's not actually, he didn't have a scholarship spot technically, but they definitely threw in a little bit of NIL money on top of what they were already going to pay him. He's a 5-star wide receiver who didn't live up to expectations last year. He had 2 touchdowns and 100 yards.
Yep.
But he still, he had expectations and he was going to get paid wherever he went. And so I doubt that program didn't give him anything.
For the young man, I hope he has a nice, I hope he bounces back. I never like for people to do poorly. For whatever reasons he left A&M, whatever reasons he initially left Texas Tech, I just hope if A&M and Texas Tech play in the playoffs, if we're fortunate enough to get there, he has 0 catches and maybe negative yards, if that's even possible. What else do you have?
So a little World Baseball Classic talk.
They made it!
Yeah, an update. Team Italy's 9-1 victory over Mexico means that Team USA will move on from pool play and into the tournament quarterfinals. Italy's win included the first 3 home runs by a single player in World Baseball Classic history from their captain, Vinny Pasquantino. Say that like you
Vinny
said.
Pasquantino.
Exactly. USA will play Canada tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Houston.
We usually dominate the Canadians and everything.
Exactly.
OB, my
Grazie. Italia. Grazie.
OB, I don't know about you. I don't know how, because Richard Zane and Bronny, they're all in on this World Baseball Classic. I was keeping up with it, but I was confused. Like, and Nick, help us out here. It was like, if Mexico scores at least 5 runs, the United States gets in. But if Italy wins, the United, there's, am I right?
It was like a crazy math equation with runs scored and who won the game, all because the U.S. manager didn't know that they hadn't clinched a spot and basically sat half the team.
Yeah, that's just stupid. So now that they've clinched, does it reset? Like, I don't know.
Now it's single elimination going forward. Okay. So if they lose to Canada, they're done. But that's not going to happen.
Obi, you been watching?
No. I got to admit that if it wasn't for Bronny and Richard, I wouldn't even know what's going on.
Agreed.
I really think it's worth, like, seriously, that it's like playoff caliber baseball in spring training. Like, it's a really cool event, in my opinion, for someone who usually doesn't tune into baseball until the regular season starts, at least professional baseball. I think it's great for the game.
Nick, catch me up. So typically my parents' homeland of Cuba is very good, but apparently they're terrible now.
Yeah, they're out. They got eliminated.
Oh, they're done. Okay.
Yep.
Well, hopefully a free Cuba's coming. Sorry, shouldn't make a political statement, but hopefully it's coming in the next week or two. We'll hit a break here. When we come back, OB, let's do a little bit more basketball talk, okay?
Absolutely.
Hey, you know how far you are from 1775? You're very far.
Yeah, probably about 850 miles away.
You've done that drive before. So if you could have 1775 flown to you by helicopter today for lunch, okay, because it's a Thursday, right? What are you picking? And you can only pick two items. That's it.
2 items?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get a brisket sandwich, and then I'm probably going to get, since I'm up here, the pork ribs, so I could show these misguided Tennessee people what pork ribs, how they're supposed to be.
Okay. Now you get to pick for me. All right. And those 2 have been eliminated. You can't pick those 2. So now you pick for me.
You?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me
queso
guess.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And turkey.
I knew that was coming. All right, fine. Yeah. I like turkey. I do. I think you give it to me too much, but that's fine. I'll eat it. And Luke, you get to pick an item for Luke. Just one item, though. He's a small man.
Luke, let's see. What can I say to be insulting to Luke? No. Hey,
kids meal.
Yeah, I'm sure Luke. I'm already having the brisket and the ribs, and you're having the turkey and the queso mac and cheese. So I guess, Luke will be, they'll save the sausage for Luke.
979-492-6241 or go to 1775txbbq.com. It is 1775, OB.
And it's good.
All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. OB, I believe it was you in the press conference asking Bucky about Rylan Griffin and how much better they are when he's in double figures. How important is he to this tournament run, considering I think the only two losses were to, was it Tennessee and Alabama, I think, where he scored in double digits?
They're 12-3 when he scores in double figures.
Okay.
The losses were to two of them were to Tennessee and Alabama, double overtime games, and the other one was the 86-85 loss to Missouri. So they're scoring when he's scoring.
Yeah.
I think when he's at A&M, obviously it starts with Rashawn Agee. And he's the guy that you don't want to take it for granted, of course, but he's the guy you always figure he's going to score about 15 and get 8 rebounds or more, typically. I mean, he may get more than that, may get a little less. He may go out there and score 22. But we always wonder who's next. And it just seems like when it's Griffin, that good things happen. That in the game against LSU, and they needed them all, Pop Isaacs came in and was very productive. Usually when Rylan's got it going and you got that 1-2 combination of Rylan and Rashawn, just history shows that's when they're most successful.
Tell me if I'm being Captain Obvious here, but if you have Rashawn doing Rashawn things, you get Rylan Griffin in the double figures, and it's either Pop or Ruben Dominguez giving you double figures, A&M is pretty close to a lock to winning.
Yeah, I think so. What I would hope to see is, and we've talked about this a little bit, I would hope to see just everybody being the best version of themselves. And I'm not saying that Zach Clemens has to go out and score 29 like he did against Arkansas. But, being that guy that can come in and give you somewhere between 8 and 10, right?
Yeah.
6 to 10. That Ruben Dominguez, we've seen him go out the other night against Kentucky, and he scored like 16? But then he has 3 the next game. Just somewhere in between there that's more of a representation of what Ruben is when he's playing well and when he's shooting the ball well. So, and Pop, I don't necessarily need 18 from Pop again, but, to come in and provide some offense when you need it. So you just hope you see everybody playing well and just being a pretty good representation of who they are when they're playing well.
OB, we got Stephen McGee coming up. You sticking around? You're going to go cover some Nashville stuff?
No, I'll stick around for Stephen. He was always fun.
All right, we'll do that on the other side. Right now, we're talking Brazos Running Company and MasonHay.com, a family legacy there at Century Square. Brazos Running Company is an Aggie-owned specialty running store that has all the shoes you can imagine. Mike is great. Go say hi to him. His daughters are amazing at Mason Hay. But when you go to Brazos Running Company, all the running shoes you want, from Brooks to On to Hoka, they got Vuori, they got Duck Camp, they got Turtle Box speakers. And speaking of Haley and Macy, fourth-generation Aggies started their own company featuring officially licensed Aggie merchandise like pajamas, baby blankets, wallpaper, you name it. From running shoes to Aggie pajamas, this family's got you covered, and they are an Aggie family. Visit the Brazos Running Company at Century Square or shop at MasonHay.com. That is MasonHay.com. Hey, we're on the air. Just over here giving Cooper some protein, macronutrient breakdowns. Hey, Stephen McGee, how are you?
Good morning.
I just went first name, last name. Good to see you, sir. And thank you to our good friends at Paragon Financial Advisors for bringing you Stephen McGee. OB is on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline as we continue talking. Well, actually, we're going to move to football talk. Did you see what the Big Ten is doing, Stephen? I don't know. I know you don't read maybe you do, the business of college football. Do you ever read that stuff?
On rare occasion.
Well, this one I think you'll be interested in because basically they sent a letter to the NCAA asking to pause. Are you looking at his hair?
Look at OB this morning, man. Looking all dapper.
I'm wearing a TexAgs t-shirt. That's how dapper I am.
Well, but I've never seen a man in my life brush his hair as much as OB. OB is a brusher.
He is. He's got flow.
He's got flow.
Right?
Yeah, flow B.
And he's got cut, right? Isn't that what we were saying, Cooper? What's the term that you guys use?
Cutting.
He's on a cut.
He's cutting. He's cutting.
Yeah.
Which means he's getting
Going to the barber?
No. Cutting weight. Shedding weight.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
You and me both, buddy.
All right. So the Big Ten is asking the NCAA to pause tampering inquiries because they think rules need to be revamped. It is basically you are at a disadvantage in today's world of college football to not be tampering. So they should kind of pause on going after schools for tampering until they figure out new rules.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. Just don't tamper.
Yeah, don't tamper to begin with. But is that likely to happen? I mean,
no, that's what they're saying. They're like, everybody's tampering, so if you don't, you're going to lose. So let's make the new rules before we enforce the no tampering.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous. But yeah, I'm with you in that we need to enforce no tampering. And I think that applies to coaches as well. I love the NFL model, and I get it that the calendar year for school does not bode well with teams that are making transition at the coaching position. They want to get that done before the portal. I don't know how you fix the calendar year issue to make it all work like the NFL model, where they're committed to their football team and they're trying to win games. As long as they're still playing, don't go after them, right? There's an open period for that.
But if you took away the ability to transfer from whenever you wanted, I think it would fix 90% of this or 50% of this.
I agree. I mean, how many?
You can transfer unlimited now.
Yeah, but there was 4,000 transfers this year, something crazy. And I think the vast majority of those guys learned that it doesn't work out. The grass is not always greener, right? The coach that had an issue with them at their previous school, they learned pretty quickly that the coach at their current school has that same issue.
Yeah.
And that ultimately they need to look in the mirror and develop themselves as a football player and stop trying to make the excuse of, I'm a victim of my school or my coach, right? And I think that's one of the unfortunate realities from the development side is these guys are always getting promised more money and opportunity elsewhere, and they never face the challenges of the development of an athlete here and now. OB, what's your take?
Well, the first thing I think about is all the coaches complain about tampering, right?
Yep.
But who's tampering?
Oh, nobody's saying who is. Well, Dabo let everybody know that there was some tampering going on at Ole Miss, and I appreciate it.
Ole Miss, right. The point is, the coaches that are always complaining about tampering are the same guys that are tampering. And I just, I always hear coaches talk about accountability and, doing things the right way and things like that, and yet they can't police themselves. So I think I've gotten to the point where I don't care if they're tampering.
See, look,
I think there should be rules. There should be hard, fast rules, but they're not going to follow them anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I want them to follow the rules. I do. Like, I don't like the idea that a kid in November knows where he's going to play in school in January before he's gone in the portal because he's been having these dialogues with these other coaches. And then there's other situations where these agents are getting in their ear and saying, hey, if you go in the portal, like the kid from Texas that went to Oklahoma, Parker Livingstone, he said if he didn't have an agent, he would have stayed at Texas.
Yeah, and he also, didn't he say that Texas didn't want him back?
Did he say that as well?
Yeah, I read it originally as...
want to pay him.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of mess in there. And the agents, unfortunately, are going to try to monetize the situation to maximize it from a profit perspective. Right. And so they're going to be incentivized to have their athletes go in the portal every year to test what the worth of their athlete is.
The problem is, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve. I thought you were done.
No. You go, and I had a question for you.
I like what David said, about wish that they would put back the rule where you had to sit out a year to transfer and things like that. But, now what they would do is, name the program. They would find their judge that would come in and issue a ruling that, no, you can't keep them out. And, the NCAA might complain to that, but or want it to go to Congress or whatever, and Congress is never going to take I don't think the anti-player side. So I don't know if that's ever going to be, if that toothpaste is ever going to get put back in the tube.
Guys, this is happening while the SEC is meeting in Nashville this week, talking about the future of college football or the future of the SEC. And Sankey on Feinbaum this week, I think it was this week, said that he doesn't think it's a good idea for the SEC to break away from college, from the NCAA, but there are many programs that have suggested that in the SEC for the SEC to break away and do their own thing.
Well, it all starts in the SEC, especially in the football world, right? Which I think drives the monetization of college sports in general. There's a lot of power there in the SEC, right? To dictate what happens in all of college football. It wouldn't surprise me that they lead the front charge. We've already heard them say dismantling the NCAA, obviously. I'm sure, OB, you have your take on this as well.
Well, I think they're about 10 to 20 years late as far as trying to talk about breaking away from the NCAA, and I think it's inevitable. It's just I even wonder how it. When Sankey says this, I wonder how much it's posturing or throwing people off the scent. I wouldn't be surprised if the Big Ten and the SEC are constantly talking about what they have to do and getting their ducks in a row to break away.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be just those two programs, or do you think it'll be? Because didn't I read earlier in the week that the ACC and the Big 12 had talked about some kind of like television partnership in the future? Like, do you see a world where it is just the SEC and the Big Ten and they maybe absorb a couple more teams? Or is it going to be a bigger national footprint?
OB, I don't know where you side on this.
I've always thought eventually it'll be about 60 schools,
Yep.
The major players, and you better do the right things, otherwise they can kick you out of that 60, which is why Vanderbilt suddenly, in the last couple of years, started investing in their program after never, ever doing it. And all of a sudden, okay, we're going to start building our stadium and our facilities up. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that it'll be about 60. So, Notre Dame's going to be in there. And, of course, everybody's going to want Clemson involved and Florida State. And maybe some of these teams will be joining the Big Ten or the SEC. I don't know that you'll see the ACC and Big 12 as we know it, but a lot of those, Texas Tech will be involved as long as Cody Campbell's spending money on them. So, but yeah, I think eventually, someday in the not too distant future, the highest level of college football will be about 60 schools, and primarily, the teams that we know are in the Big Ten and the SEC, and then the major players beyond them.
I just don't know. And what I actually was at a restaurant yesterday. They were doing trivia, and they talked about how many billionaires there are in the state of Texas. There's 72 billionaires apparently in Texas. Okay, I don't know how. You're one of them?
I wish.
Oh. How sustainable is it? Like, I don't know what they used to spend, Stephen, in your day on rosters, like under the table, but I don't think it was $20 to $40 million a year.
No.
Where does this money, like, how sustainable is this model? Eventually, teams that don't win, people are not going to spend money. You would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you look at the NFL, right? Every NFL team, day one of the league year gets a $460 million check where they were first or last, right? Mm-hmm. And to some level, it's very true with TV contracts. These programs are going to get, day one from their contract, whatever the number is, $45 million from, CBS and ESPN. And so they're very profitable. And then you throw in the fact that they have a lot of their season tickets and suites and everything already committed for. Then you stack on another 20%. So it's like before they even do anything, day one of the league year, they've already have 80% of the revenue. It's incredible business. And it's not like you can just add new NFL teams or create a new SEC team.
Right.
So it's a legalistic monopoly, so to speak, whereas everything else, you can go start a new business to compete with Amazon. And so there's a lot of the business model of sports is very powerful. Yeah. And I think they're just learning, especially in the college model, how to monetize that better.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with a little bit more with Steven and OB. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggie land, or you are already in Aggie land and looking for a great opportunity to help out Aggies, you should check out the Association of Former Students that's looking to hire professionals to join their team. They have openings from time to time in many, many different departments. You'll check it out from fundraising, former student programs, communications, sales, you name it. They are amazing, and they are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Howdy Socials, Aggie Rain Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/associationjobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for a little buy, sell, hold, brought to you by Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. If you want financial guidance that truly puts you first, visit paragon-adv.com. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios by 2030 that may happen. Probably won't happen, all right? But I want you to pick buy, sell, hold, the most likely to happen, okay? So you get a formal breakaway from the SEC and the Big Ten by 2030. That's one option for you. You'll have a 32, 64-team Super League is another option, which is kind of similar to the Big Ten SEC breakoff, but maybe that would be less teams. And then your third option would be a 24 to 28 team Super Playoff, replacing our current 12-team model.
Oof.
Buy, sell, hold, the most likely.
I'll buy the Super Conference 32-64. I will hold the 24
team
playoff, and I'm going to sell the last. What was the first one?
SEC Big Ten by themselves breakoff.
Yeah, the breakoff of just SEC Big Ten, because I think there's some big name schools that would be included in that that have a lot of value that you wouldn't exclude.
ACC teams,
Notre Dame
for sure. Yep.
Miami, Florida State, historical programs, Clemson that have had a lot of success in recent years that are going to be in there. I mean, it just is what it is.
OB?
Hey, I'm right on board with what Steven said. It'll be the SEC and Big 12 leading the way, but it won't be just those two conferences. There'll be a lot of teams from other conferences. They may join, and then it becomes that.
Right.
But in some way, it'll be, you're not going to leave, like you said, Miami, Clemson, Florida State. They're always going to find room for North Carolina. You're not going to leave those programs out.
You mentioned a bunch of ACC teams. Any from the Big 10? Big 12.
Well, Texas Tech, for sure.
Yeah.
Arizona.
Arizona State. First of all, think BYU. Think state schools, with the exception of some of the more premier private schools like Miami and like BYU.
Would SMU be in that mix and TCU?
SMU maybe, because of the financial backing they always remember they just bought their way into the ACC.
Yeah.
So somebody will try to buy their way in, but
and I think 2030 is way too soon for any of this. If I were going to say the most likely, it would be at an expanded playoff of a number that OB would hate, 24 to 28. I mean, I feel like that's.
If you're going to go 24, why don't you just go to 32? So everybody plays the same number of games.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want that?
No. You
like 12?
I like 24. We talked about this last week. I think OB, you were siding on the less is more. I like 24. I like to see who gets hot at the end of the year. It's like the New York Giants that won the Super Bowl back in 2009. They got hot late. Yeah. Hey, I got a quick trivia question. You said you were doing that. I couldn't think of this, and I know OB is the sports encyclopedia. There was a guy that played receiver, small Midwestern school, great college football player, brief career. His last name was Owners, and we couldn't think of his first name. And I thought it was
Owners.
Yeah, I thought it was Gabe.
Gabe Owners? Yeah.
I saw your face.
McGee's always thinking. Apparently, McGee spends a lot of time thinking about Gabe Owners.
I
didn't say that.
He did not say that.
I just said, he said Gabe Owners. I said he spends a lot of time thinking about Gabe Owners. Why are y'all laughing?
I'm not. I'm getting my LinkedIn updated.
Why is Steven laughing?
Steven, thank you. OB, thank you. Enjoy Nashville. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It's TexAgs Live. We have another hour. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program, a little baseball talk. Got the SEC opener this weekend. Michael Earley's in studio. Richard Zane here to help me chit-chat a little baseball. Coach, how are you, sir?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. So, okay, 15-1. Is there something about this team today, as you're about to start SEC play, that you didn't know maybe on opening day?
Yeah, I just think any team, you don't really know how they're going to react, whether it be good or bad. And we've had some situations where we had some bad and some good and all those things, but their response, and I've said it a million times, has just been great. And that's got to continue, right? You don't get any awards for doing it early on and being really good at it. It's got to continue, especially as the competition ticks up. But I wasn't too surprised just because they'd been doing it in a practice standpoint, but games are different. Mm-hmm. Games, when your stats start going on the board, when there's wins and losses, but they've done a really good job of not changing who they are, and we just got to continue to do that.
When you talk about good and bad, there's been a lot of good so far this year, right? 15-1, but life in the SEC is it's going to be up and down. You know that. A lot of the guys who have been through this league know that. The complexion of each team being different, is there anything that needs to be said, done to prepare the group as a whole to go through life in this conference?
I think a lot of stuff has to be done as you go through it. They know it's good. They know the competition level, and that's why a majority of them came here to play. It's a balance of not making it a thing, but understanding that the competition ticks up. I think they got a pretty good idea that, Oklahoma's ranked 8th or 9th, that when we're going to their place, that it's going to be tough. And so they don't need me harping on the fact that we're playing a really good team. I trust them, and I trust, our preparation, their preparation, that we're going to go in there and be ready to go.
So what does preparation look like for a conference series versus a non-conference series versus the tournament up in Arlington, because that's your first true road trip of the year?
Yeah, it's you got a few weeks in, so you have a decent idea of lineups for them, pitching changes, matchups, where they're going to go. As you get into conference more, it gets even a little more clear. But we're week 5. It definitely is different scouting week 5 than week 1 or 2. So they're a really good team. I mean, they got a ton of team speed, and they're good all the way around. Like, they're a complete baseball team. They're really tough.
Did I hear you say you haven't been to Oklahoma before?
I really don't think I've been there. I've played baseball all over the country growing up. I've played, coached, and I don't think I've ever played in Oklahoma. So be good.
Just expectations from going there, and what, just now that it's official, it begins, just for the way this team is playing. How are you feeling about that?
I feel great. I feel great where we're at. I mean, we, again, just response to anything good or bad has been awesome. But I just think if you look at what we've done, from fielding the baseball to hitting the baseball to taking balls to throwing strikes to all the little simple things you have to do, to honestly to running the bases except for a game, as a whole, I like it. That game's still fresh, so it's a little in my mind. But if you just look at the totality of it, yes, there's been bad. There's been a lot of good. There's been a lot of correction. So going into it, we felt about as good as we can, but baseball's a funny sport.
As the years evolve, we kind of get a little bit of a peek into who the guys are as a group. And I feel like we're kind of getting a small glimpse right now after the home run song change and getting to hear Gavin Lyons talk about how they're such good friends on and off the field. So from your perspective, what do you see from these guys as a whole, as a collective, not just the players, but the humans they are and the friends they are, in the clubhouse and outside of it?
Yeah, I mean, they've been great, but I think challenge will come, and I hope we can keep that, and I think we will keep it. But it's real easy to like everyone when you're 15-1, and everyone's friends, and everything's happy, and everything's great. To that being said, I do trust the fact that they are just really, really confident and good dudes. That when things do go, things are going to be tough at some point, right? Could be this weekend, could be next. It's coming. Like, we're going to lose some more games. Can they stay with that same feeling? Because it's when you're getting hits, or you're winning, you're doing stuff, everything's great. But I do feel something different about them, that they will stay together and stay tight. And it's our job to do that too. But they've been good since day one. I had no idea about the home run song, or I don't really care, to be honest with you. I think the one song got pretty popular because we hit 136 home runs that year, and you played it a lot, and so hopefully we hear this one a lot too.
Don't matter what the song is, as long as you play it a lot.
Yeah.
But how important is that personality for a team that has the confidence to be themselves. And obviously, when you're 15-1, it helps to that. But just they're establishing their own identity.
Well, all that stuff helps, right? Like it helps you kind of find that identity. You find, and I think in baseball, the number one thing you can have is confidence. So if the record and their stats and how they're doing right now gives them confidence, and they can hold on to that feel and remember what it's like when things get tough, that's great. That's why you always want a hot start. Anything you do, if you got a good start, sometimes you can ride it and you can go back and kind of, oh, this is what we did then, or this is what we did then, and you're not just constantly grinding and battling the entire year.
No, a guy who had a pretty nice night on Tuesday, Gavin Lyons, 4 2/3 innings against a SFA offense that had some really nice numbers coming in. What do you see from him, and how is he able to impact this team both as a starter and as a reliever on the weekend?
I think the unique thing about Gavin is he can throw a lot. I don't know if it's the arm slot or he just has the ability to kind of get up and get down. So he's kind of been in that swing role starting on Tuesday, coming in on the weekend. And then, the one weekend he threw a lot of pitches. He didn't start but came in the game. He's kind of like a do-it-all at any time type of guy. Up 6, down 6, close, maybe it's early. We haven't gotten those situations yet, so we don't know completely what he is, but he's a guy that's going to throw on the weekends for us. Depending on how much he throws will dictate if he starts on Tuesday or not.
What is your takeaway from Shane so far this year, 5 weeks in today?
A lot of strikes, obviously. Stuff. I think he's gotten better every single week. And that's just kind of what I always anticipated. Just coming off the injury, the timeline, how everything worked out, Shane has just gotten better every single week. And the one card Shane has that he can always play is he's competitive. Like elite competitor. So he pitches, I don't even think twice about it because he's just, and then when the stuff matches up and the pitches and all of that, but I just know if he's a little off, he can compete his way through.
Weston told us Friday that he was pissed off before his start. So how have you gone about keeping him pissed off so he kind of replicates that in Norman this
kind of
week?
Shoulder him down the hallway when I see him. No, I think Weston's a really good player. And I'm glad I guess he was mad and he channeled it. And I think you can, if you have a rough start or something that you don't like, you can remember it all the time. Whatever you got to do to motivate yourself to be a winner is what you got to do. And whether it's intrinsically, whatever you got to do, I don't care. But I think Weston has shown that he's competitive and maybe he needs a little bit of that. And I think he's in a good spot and he's going to continue to compete and throw good stuff up there.
We knew the offense was going to be really good. Have you been surprised how well the team has pitched overall just as a group?
I guess I know coming in like with you guys and people in the media, which is fair, there's a ton of question marks on the pitching because when you look at it, like there should be, right? Mm-hmm. What we get to do every day is be at practice. Right. So it's no, I'm not surprised. I get why you'd be like, you got a guy coming off injury, a guy hasn't started, a guy through 7 innings. No, they got to continue to do it. But to this point, no, I'm not surprised because I've just been.
You live it every day.
Yeah, and I just have I didn't really see Shane pitch that much. I just with coming off, he threw a few lives at the end of the fall, and then he threw some in the spring. My belief in Shane is just through the roof. So I never even had a doubt on that. And the other guys, I just saw them in practice and how well they did. So they got to continue to do it. Competition ticks up, right? As guys swing the bat better, you can't get scared out of the strike zone. You got to continue to throw strikes. They're going to get hits. It's just our style of play. We're going to fill it up. We're going to play defense.
Blake Benderup's going really good right now, and he's not the only guy who's, when he's had his opportunities, he's come and made the most of them. Think about Sawyer Farr and even Jorian Wilson every now and then. So, a lot of the credit goes to those guys for staying ready, but how is the program and the way you structure practices and extra time, how is that set up to allow guys to thrive and succeed when they do get thrown into the game?
Yeah, we've only done this a few times, but practice is kind of different, right? Like different days you do different stuff. If guys have been playing, we've done it a few times where I've had those guys that haven't played as much come a little earlier, maybe on Friday before the game, and they get like a style of hitting practice you would get in preseason spring or fall just to try to keep their eyes sped up. We got great technology in the cage with our pitching machines. Like it's not 100% accurate, but we can plug in your fastball, your slider, put it on the eye pitch at the same speed and hit off it. So we try to do that more. Plus the Wednesday at bats have been great from a hitting standpoint because we haven't pitched that many guys because situation, again, hasn't allowed us to do it. So we've had a lot of guys that need to pitch on Wednesdays. So just trying to, I say, keep their eyes fast as much as possible. So the last thing you want as a hitter when you haven't hit is to get in a box and everything just feel fast.
Yep.
Like that is, it's just tough. So we just try to keep their eyes like that as much as possible.
For the record, my fastball and slider, they're the same pitch, and they're both going to end up like how Blake Benderup hit that home run. Bear Harrison hit that home run, so you don't want me up there.
Speaking of Blake, just his patience and also capitalizing when he gets his number called.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been a huge fan of Blake since he's been here just because I get to be around him every day and just kind of see who he is. So when you're around it and you see it, you're not surprised. And you look at a guy that was opening day starter at first base the last 2 seasons. He's come in this year as an older guy, and he's been a leader. I mean, guys like him, but he works really hard. Like his routine this year in the cage, I think, has been better than any other year, just because he's consistent. Like I notice everything he does, he's consistent with all his work, and he's just stayed ready. And he gets it. Like he's been through it. I mean, that guy's been through it. You've been an opening starter. You've been in and out of the lineup. You've been SEC Player of the Week. Like, you can't put a price on experience. Whatever that experience is, good, bad, not so good. He's had a little bit of everything. So he's a guy that you can throw in there and he knows what to do.
Your current first baseman, Gavin Grahovac, it seems like he's hitting the quietest 350 I think I've ever seen. What have you seen from him as he starts to get louder and louder at the plate?
Yeah, I think it's quiet because I think when you think of Gavin, I think most people think of home runs, and he's hit like 4 balls off the wall.
Yeah.
Good thing about him is he doesn't lose sleep over it. He's not bothered about it. Like he just wants to be a complete player. He's been good, and I think just he's still, I don't want to say still working through things, but like just that comfort level of playing every day.
Yeah.
And I think we're past that. I think we're there, and I think you're starting to see him kind of really settle in. But yeah, when he's on, it's a weapon in the batter's box. It just adds that element of a guy that puts fear into the other team. And with his ability he's played a great first base. He's only made the one mistake. He didn't field the bunt the other day. And I went out there and you've been on the other side of the diamond too many times. Because at third, you let that thing go foul. And he did. He immediately was like, what am I doing? So just hopefully that's the last little thing he's got to get over. But he's just done a really good job. Done a really good job in the clubhouse, working and just being, again, we got some experience and some guys that have been through it, and it really, really helps.
Back to his long ball, how rare is that for somebody not to focus, especially if you're known to hit home runs, to not focus on what that is, just focus on the process itself?
Yeah, I think you got to have some maturity and just be a baseball player. Those things come and go. And I think even his freshman year, I'm not sure he got off to this hot home run start. So it is what it is. You start worrying about that, then you're going to start getting out, and that's a lot worse feeling than not hitting as many home runs as maybe people want you to hit.
Bear Harrison saw the ball leave the yard by a lot on Tuesday. Batting average and on-base percentage, there's quite a bit of a disconnect there. So what have you seen from Bear at the plate that leads you to believe that if the average is going to start telling the true story here?
I could be wrong, but if you look at guys that play every single day, you take out Chris and Wes because they haven't. I think Bear has the highest on-base percentage on the team.
Well, he's like a ball magnet, so how do you figure that out?
But I think he's hitting he's been hitting the ball well, even before the hits came. So I think he's in a great spot. I think he's hitting like 250 now with like a 517, 518 on base. I think he's doing awesome. I mean, if he can do that the whole year, I promise you he'll play every day. So, and he's catching really well. And yeah, I think he's really, over the course of last week, hit some balls hard, and now they're starting to drop. And it's a good thing if you hit it over the fence, they can't catch it. So push that button.
519 per Nick, highest amongst qualified players. So
no, it was around there.
With Caden, he's had such a great start to the season. Where else would you like to see him take his game?
I mean,
just be Caden.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not guys hitting 400 with 8 homers.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess
just keep doing that.
Hit some more homers. I think he's got to still continue to. I mean, it's simple with him, and it's just control the zone, and he's continuing to get better at it. Like walk a few more times. Even some times where he's hit balls hard. I think there's a couple pitches before where he should have already been on first base, but just continue to control the strike zone and continue to get better at it. But other than that, he's doing a pretty good job.
When you look at this weekend, I know you've talked about the style of play that you are expecting to see from the Sooners, but when it comes to individuals and you're going through your scouting report, who are the guys that jump out at you that are going to be problems, challenges to shut down this weekend?
I really like their shortstop, Willits. His brother was the first pick. His dad's one of the coaches. I just think he's a. You always like see players that you play against, or you're going to play against, and you're like, I want to see him play. I think that dude's a really good player. Like, I'm excited to hopefully he doesn't play well, but just like see him play. Yeah. I like players. And then just on the pitching side, I mean, their weekend rotation is pretty good with Johnson on Friday, McCarry's on, I probably pronounced his name wrong, Saturday, and then I got a really good freshman on Sunday. Different looks on the mound. Mm-hmm. They like sink to ride. A lot of ride heater guys, rides, the ones that want to throw up in the zone. Jason Bowden, who used to play here, has done really well. I've done a nice job with him. He's got a bigger role this year. He's got good players all over the field. But, it's just the team speed is pretty high. I can't imagine there's anyone faster in the conference than them. And speed in baseball can be great or it can be irrelevant. Ideally, you want to try to keep them under control by hopefully you can stay in the lead, which is way easier said than done, and just kind of not let them do some things they want to do on the base pass. I think they stole home last night. My mother texted me that. She's watching the game, so she's helping out. But they can really, really run.
I don't know if you've already addressed this health of the team. How are things heading into the weekend?
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah.
I don't know what you can share or what you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good spot. I think we're all signs point to those guys will play this weekend at some point or the whole thing. So Chris took some live at-bats yesterday. So did Wes. Wes could always hit, but Chris took about 7 or 8 live at-bats yesterday, hit a home run, which I guess he can hit home runs when he's hurt anyway. But, everything's trending in the right direction for sure.
Coach, I appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back a little bit more with Zane on the other side as TexAgs Live. A little more baseball talk here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Richard Zane is with us. Zane, let's I know Oklahoma's good. Obviously, number 8 in the country. They got a great pitching staff. What can you tell me about them overall that you've seen in your prep?
Can I be honest with you? I haven't done too much prep. I've watched them play a couple of games. Okay. What I can tell you is that their broadcast crew, the camera crew, not great. So viewing might be a little difficult this weekend. Yeah. But what I can say about Skip Johnson teams in general is they're always going to pitch it really well. So it's going to be good hitting versus good pitching again this weekend. Now can Texas A&M's pitching staff, which they have so far this year, neutralize that team speed? Don't give up free passes. Limit the number of base runners the Sooners have. That'll go a long way in determining this 3-game series. Life in the SEC, you know the team on the other side is going to be extremely talented. They're going to have real players at all 9 spots. But you do too. So you just got to figure it out.
Have you been surprised with A&M baseball so far? Anything in particular? I mean,
for me, the pitching has been way better than expected. And I think Coach Earley touched on it in the last segment, but there are a lot of question marks around it. And I think all of them were fair, maybe just because it was a lot of unknowns, right? Shane Sadeo hadn't pitched in how many months as he recovered from Tommy John surgery? Everything he had shown you earlier in his career led you to believe that he'd be ready to make the jump and bounce back as an SEC Friday night ace. I'm not sure he's achieved that status yet, but he's well on his way. He has been better than I thought he'd be early on as he knocks off some rust. Weston Moss had never been a starter. He's been shaky at times, but if you can channel that Weston Moss from Friday against Oakland, you feel a lot better about it. And then Aiden Sims, the numbers last year as a freshman were not kind. They were not nice looking.
Great.
But he's been great. He's been the best so far. And I think just the way they've limited the free pass, right? There's no catchy slogan of this pitching staff or this pitching coach that leads you to believe they're going to live life in the zone, but it is the same mindset, and they're limiting free passes at an even better clip than they did back when they made the World Series run in 2024. So pitching has been very, very impressive to me. I think they've played defense a little bit better than I expected they would. And honestly, the depth of the lineup has been fantastic, right? Terrence Keel II is hitting like 450, right? He's getting on base. Bear Harrison, he's getting on base. And then guys, when they get their opportunities, Blake Bendrup, Sawyer Farr, they're coming through. And then your guys at the top of the lineup, Gavin, Caden, Jake Dewar, they've been as advertised. And in Caden's and Jake's respect, they've been even better. And Gavin's getting there. Gavin's been really, really good the last couple of weeks. The numbers are a little misleading, though.
Well, and I loved his answer when I asked him about it. I'm not surprised. I see these guys all the time. I've been with them. Yeah. So he knows his staff. Let's, for a moment, kind of think about whatever it looks like over the next couple of weeks. They start off super hot. They struggle against Oklahoma. Whatever scenario you want to take, I think they can learn so much from last year because they struggled to start.
Yeah.
And then, it clicked but it clicked.
Well, hopefully it doesn't. The start doesn't look nearly the way it did last year, right? Yeah. And this is the SEC. This is the best college baseball conference in the country. How many teams are ranked ahead of Texas A&M right now, just in the league alone? I think they're ranked 22nd, and there's 10 teams ahead of them in the conference. That's crazy, right? This league is unreal. Week to week, it's going to be a battle. You're going to win some games. You're going to lose some games. You're going to win some series. You're going to lose some series. You just can't get too high or too low, because every week, every day, it's going to be a challenge.
And the fact that those guys, Chris and Wes, we might see them this weekend. I know we need to be a little patient if we do see them on expectations, but I do think if they're in the lineup in any capacity, pinch hit, come in, play it all, I think it just changes the way the lineup feels in the game.
Oh, absolutely. It's a much deeper lineup with Chris Akopian playing second base, right? Because it allows you to get creative with how you use Terrence Keel II. Do you want him to bat leadoff? He's been your prototypical leadoff hitter, your traditional leadoff hitter. He's been excelling there. But he's also been getting on base when he's batting 6th or 7th. And as long as he's on base for the big bats of Hakopian, of Grahovic, of Sorrell, they're going to be an RBI opportunities. That's all that matters, whether he bats 1 or 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't matter to me as long as TK is getting on base, which he has so far this year. It gives you some freedom, some lineup construction freedom. It also gives you opportunities to bring guys off the bench, right? Blake Benderup's going so well right now at the plate. I'm not sure it's a foregone conclusion that Wesley Jordan slots right back into the DH role.
Right.
But that's still a fantastic right-handed bat off the bench late in games if you want it. So there's opportunities, there's options, and there's depth that I don't think we expected them to have right now at this point in the season, which is another interesting development and happy development, positive development.
Is it fair to say that I expected the defense to be better because of some of the changes they made, but I've also been surprised how well the defense has played, just considering the plug and play that they've had to do and young players out there?
Absolutely. I think that's very fair, right? You lost your opening day second baseman. Chris Kopian's played 2 games defensively at second base. You've got 2 true freshmen starting on the left side of the infield, and they've been very good.
Gavin at first.
Gavin Grovic at first base, and you heard Coach Earley. You don't need me to say it. He's been very good over there. Maybe just 1 or 2 things that he needs to wipe away from his memory as a third baseman. And then we don't talk about Bear Harrison, but his defense has been exceptionally better than it was last year. And then I think you've got one of the best defensive outfields in the country with Keel and Sorrell in center and in right, and left field, Jake Dewar's been fantastic as well.
And talk a little bit more about Jake, too, because I don't think we were expecting this from him, especially this early.
No, and I don't think he had a hit against Oakland, but he hit the ball hard. He just hit them right at people. Sometimes the baseball gods don't reward you for the correct approach, but he's been a professional hitter, right? Coach Earley compared him a couple weeks ago to Jack Moss, and that is an insane compliment around here, right? Talked to Boomer White about him on, was that Tuesday? And Boomer White was much of the same approach, hit the ball where they ain't, hit it hard, pit it in play. Boomer hit over 400 in conference play.
Right.
Jake could do that too, just the way he's mature, he takes good at-bats, and when he hits the ball, he hits it hard.
So catch me up on turbulence. Okay, so I know that Gavin Lyons spoke a little bit about it. It started with the pitching staff. Is that how?
Apparently, it started with the pitching staff.
Okay.
They would link the turtle boxes together, and that would be the song they'd play when they were warming up down in the bullpen. Apparently, Jason Hutchins went crazy one time when the bass dropped. They liked it, so it stuck around with the pitchers for a little while.
Okay.
And then the story I heard from Blake Benderup on Tuesday night was they decided at Caden Sorrell's 21st birthday on Saturday that they wanted to make a change. They liked the song. To me, it shows some cohesion between the pitchers and the hitters, which I'm not sure how unique or how rare that is. But they found a thing that's them, right? They think it fits them. Rattling Bog was fantastic for just over about a year and a half, and we're always going to remember it. And, Hayden Schott was
I saw him tweet about it.
Yeah, he put that together, and that team that hit 136 home runs, we're always going to remember that team. But we also remember things like Pringles and Good and a rally wagon and the Green Masters jacket. These little bits and these, I don't want to call them gimmicks, but they're fun. They're fun little tidbits that they're not baseball specific, but it's guys having fun.
I think
that's important.
I think that they are baseball specific because if you're playing super tight, you're not going to show your personality.
And I like that this team's got a personality and that we're starting to see it. It's a little different than the teams we've seen before, but every team is different, right? And these little bits and pieces, these tidbits, these gimmicks, very rarely do they stick around, right? The earliest I can remember up in DFW was the Rangers were doing the claw and antlers.
Mm-hmm.
That was 15 years ago, and the Rangers don't do that anymore. They haven't done it since, right? A&M, the bubbles thing started as a player-led gimmick. I think it was Corbin Martin with the whammy machine in the dugout. And that's really the only one that I've seen stick around for over a decade. And that's become synonymous with A&M Diamond Sports, both baseball and softball have bubble machines. So Rattling Bog, it's all right. Had it stay in the sun. It's okay to be retired.
And they may come back.
Exactly. We'll see how turbulence goes. And if they don't hit a ton of home runs, they might change the song again.
Yeah.
Because Coach Earley told us on on Tuesday, he's the type of guy that it's always the song's fault, and if it's not going well, we're going to change the song. That's how he was as a player.
Speaking of failed gimmicks, the Texans did the whole Letterman jacket thing in 2014. I don't know, or 2013. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
You remember that, Cooper?
I think the best gimmick in baseball right now is the espresso machine from Team Italy. That's hilarious.
I haven't seen that. No.
They hit home runs, and they get a shot of espresso in the dugout.
That's freaking fantastic.
They go 2 kisses on each cheek. It's very Godfather. It's amazing.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know anything about Italy other than they just keep winning. This is unexpected, right?
Yeah, of course it's unexpected. Team USA is the best collection of American talent ever. And there are American players on every single team. That's not lost on me. Somebody on the board said that I didn't realize that. Trust me, I do. I'm not ignorant to that fact. But I do know that a collection of minor leaguers and guys that have had cups of coffee in the big leagues and espresso, yes, and 2 total All-Star game appearances on a roster should not beat Team USA ever. But it happens, and that's baseball, and that's sports, and that's why we love it, unless you're a USA diehard like I am. But good news is they're through. They survived. We didn't have to worry about any math and run quotients because Italy took care of business yesterday.
When do they play Canada?
Play Canada on Friday. Which is a favorable draw. You don't have to see the Puerto Ricans until the semifinals, if they get there.
Is the Puerto Ricans like...
Oh, they're good. They're always good. You know.
Correa's not there, right?
I don't think he got cleared from the insurance. Remember, that was a big deal
that's
leading into the tournament.
That's right. Thank you very much.
And Pena's hurt too, right?
Is he?
I think so.
Appreciate you, Richard. We'll come back with AT on the other side. Right now, I want to talk to you about Heritage Films. I talked to Chance McClain on the phone Tuesday. He's traveling all over the place, telling people stories. In fact, he went and he always reminds me, like, all my clients are Aggies, dude. They love telling their stories. You have a story, your dad's got a story, your mom's got a story, your family business got a story, your family ranch has a story, and you need to not wait. You got to tell that story because the future generations that are going to inherit your land, the future generations, your grandkids, they need to know the story from your words, from your family's words, right? From your dad's words. Very important to have it captured, a 2-hour documentary that Chance and his team can put together. I'm telling you right now, if you've thought about it, at least call Chance up and have him kind of pitch you what his idea for your family would be in this awesome 2-hour documentary. I think you're going to be blown away by it. It's more than a business. It's a relationship that's built on storytelling and trust, and Chance is the best at doing it. What you need to do is visit the website, yourheritagefilm.com. Write it down, yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Around College Athletics, brought to you by Milliken Reserve. We go to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find our buddy Aaron Torres, AT from Aaron Torres Online, and of course Fox Sports Radio. What up, bud? Are you in Nashville? I know you've been traveling. Where are you?
I was in Nashville. I'm actually back on the West Coast, so I'm in beautiful California. It's 7:39 Pacific time, and I'm ready to watch a day of basketball, man. This is a fun time of year, but yeah, I was in Nashville. I am not there anymore, but it was a great trip east, and yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. So, wait, you were in Kentucky also, right? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, so we have an advertise. I don't know who advertises with you, so I don't want to start name dropping and get you in trouble, but, you know, there's a casino that has a West Coast operation that I do some stuff with that also has an East Coast operation right outside Nashville, so it strategically made sense kind of in the lead up to the SEC tournament to go down there. You know, I'm sure a lot of your audience has been to Nashville, but Nashville, I mean, you guys might even know better than me, 15, 20 minutes from the Kentucky border. So flew into Nashville, flew out of Nashville, actually stayed in Nashville for a night, and we were right over the border. We had a great event on, I guess it would have been Tuesday night, the night before the SEC tournament. Had a bunch of fans come out, you know, people that know me, listen to me, whatever. You know, some Kentucky fans, some Vol fans, some schools, you know, that were just in, or people that were just in town for the event. So, yeah, it was awesome. I mean, you know, A&M doesn't play until Thursday, so, you know, what's today? Thursday, yeah. So you guys, you know, you guys are big time, so you guys weren't even in town yet on Tuesday. But, yeah, it was a really fun event, and, yeah, I was in the area, but after the event on Tuesday, flew back yesterday.
AT, how do you take in the tournaments? Like, do you have multiple televisions going? You got phones? Like, how do you kind of take it all in? How does AT take in basketball?
Yeah, you know, David, I'm an old soul, especially basketball. I feel it's hard to, you know, sometimes, you know, listen, I know we live in this world of, you know, gratification is not the word I'm looking for, but just overstimulation, I guess. I have trouble really watching, you know, 2-3 things at a time. I feel like I'm watching nothing. So, you know, if I know, like, so for example, you know, that noon Eastern window today, Duke plays, but Duke doesn't really have much to play for, as opposed to, say, in the SEC where Missouri's on the bubble, you know, Kentucky just needs some kind of positive momentum going into the SEC tournament. So that's probably the game that I'll focus on. You know, I'll get a second screen going, especially if it's on, you know, a streaming service or something like that. But, you know, some of these people, 4 TV, you know, it can be too much. Now, I will say really quick, because I'm going long already, as I tend to do. In the Fox Sports Radio studios, we do have 4 monitors, and I do think, like, on a busy college football Saturday, sometimes it's worthwhile to just be able to monitor everything. But if I know there's a story or two that I'm more likely to be talking about or discussing, I'll really lock in on that one game, especially if I'm at home.
AT, where are you on A&M basketball, considering I feel like they're in, right? There's nothing that can happen tonight that would change that, in my opinion. Are you on board with me?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, I was thinking about this morning, knowing I was coming on with you. I think you can legitimately argue A&M was one of the biggest teams, biggest winners yesterday without even playing. And what I mean by that is I think A&M was probably pretty comfortably in. But, you ask me this, 3-4 times a year in the lead up to March is, hey, what do we have to do? Where is our seed, this and that? And what do I always tell you, Nuño, is I say it just depends on so many variables from so many schools and so many different places. Well, guess what? All those variables worked in A&M's favor yesterday. Cincinnati was on the fringes of the bubble. They lost. Texas, I think Texas took a brutal loss yesterday. In the ACC, SMU was kind of a team that if they won, could they get some momentum? And then, of course, the hypothetical of if A&M loses, can an SMU, can a Texas, can a Cincinnati eventually surpass them? Well, virtually all of those teams got eliminated yesterday, except ironically, maybe Auburn. Oklahoma, I still think is on the fringes of the conversation. So I think A&M is just about in. I think if they win today, they're 1,000% in. Go ahead and, plan accordingly. But I really thought yesterday really just about everything that A&M needed to work out for them really kind of worked out in their favor without playing, of course.
Yeah. The way they play basketball, Do you think that is a good thing for March, like for these tournaments, that kind of style, especially when you don't have that much time to prepare for that level of pressing and that level of speed on each play?
Well, I'll forget my opinion. I'll go to a Hall of Fame coach. If you remember, David, and I don't know if you've seen this clip, I'm sure you have, but of course, Bucky McMillan made his tournament debut 3 seasons ago now, so it was 2024, I guess. They played Kansas and Bill Self. Kansas did hold on to win, but this might be a good thing for your producers to have just to play. But there's a famous clip of, and if you search Twitter, you might even find that I shared it at some point. Is that Bill Self says that was my first experience with buckyball. I prefer if I don't have another one anytime soon. And I do think there's something to if you don't play against that style. It's one thing if you're Texas, Kentucky, whoever that might face it 2 or 3 times a year or 5 or 10 times over the course of a 3-4 game season. I think it's one thing to be prepared for that. I think it's another thing for, hey, you just won on Thursday at 9:45, Eastern time. Congrats, you play at noon on Saturday, and you got to prepare on 12 hours notice. I think it's a huge advantage for Texas A&M. Now, you still got to go out. You still got to get the wins. You still got to do what you got to do. But I think it's a great question by you, David, and I do think especially – and, by the way, I think in a tournament setting, single elimination as well, where your season could be on the line. You look at it in Oklahoma tonight, they know that if they lose, essentially their season is over. It puts pressure on them. And so I think it's a great question by you of I really do think it is not only tough to prepare for, but tough on short notice, tough if you've never seen it before. And I do think it's actually a pretty conducive style for tournament-style basketball.
AT, do you think if Oklahoma wins tonight, they're in and they replace maybe Texas, who's one of the last teams in?
I don't necessarily think it's that binary. I'd have to look at a lot of different resumes. Listen, there's so many metrics. One that I do tend to disagree with is over about 5-6 years ago, they used to have a metric of how did you do over your last 10 games. And essentially, like everything else in life, coaches complained about it. And essentially their argument was, hey, a great win in December shouldn't count any less than a great win in March. But I do think there's something to teams that are playing their best basketball, I think personally should get the benefit of the doubt. In other words, I think if Oklahoma, and I don't know off the top of my head, but if they've won 8 of their last 10 games, I think they make for a better NCAA tournament than Texas, which has lost, I think it was 5 of their last 7 after last night. And so, but just because Aaron Torres thinks that doesn't mean that the committee does. And so that's one where I don't necessarily, I think, listen, I do think if they lose, then definitively they don't really have an at-large candidacy. But I don't think it's necessarily that simple of if they win, they're definitively in. And again, it's because I think that the committee over the last 5, 6, 7 years took out how have you played in your last 4, 5, 6 games. I personally disagree with it. But again, I'm not a one-man committee. Unfortunately, I think we'd have a better bracket if I was a one-man committee, but I'm not. And the committee doesn't really care what I think. And so last 10, last 5, that doesn't really matter. They really, or at least they say they do, look at the totality of your resume.
So do you think Texas is in at 9-9 in the conference, actually now 9-10, considering they lost yesterday?
I think for them, looking at the bigger picture, they feel like a Dayton or bust team. I do hear Dayton is lovely this time of year, but no, I mean, listen, I just said, last however many doesn't matter. But, listen, they didn't have a great out of conference. They struggled early in conference. And without having their resume in front of me, I seem to remember them taking some pretty bad losses. And I think especially late, just a lot of games that a team that is a comfortable at-large team should have won, they did not win. And so, again, it feels to me like they're a Dayton team. And I feel like more than anything, what they are is a team that's just going to be sweating from now until Sunday, because as these other tournaments play out, what if Auburn wins today? I mean, listen, I'll say this, and I have not been a proponent of Auburn, but if they win today, and I do think they have to win, I think if they lose, their resume's, not strong enough. But if they do win today, neutral site win over Tennessee, win at Florida, home win over Arkansas, neutral site win over St. John's. And by the way, we all know that the toughest schedule in college basketball going back to November. So I just bring it up because I think Texas is more – I don't think they're eliminated, but I think the more that an Auburn wins, the more that a Missouri wins today, the more that some of these small schools, the Mountain West has 2 or 3 teams that are right on the cusp, the more that it hurts Texas. And I wouldn't be surprised if, say Missouri and Auburn win today. Maybe that means that Texas is out. I don't know. Again, I don't want to use – I'm using a dictionary word, a SAT word of binary. I don't know if it's as simple as if Auburn wins, that means Texas is out. But all of those kind of wins certainly hurt a resume like Texas's.
AT, great stuff, buddy. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem. Gig 'em. Have some fun today, and we'll talk next week, David. I appreciate you. And we'll be talking about an A&M tournament berth, I have no doubt, next Thursday. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. There's Aaron Torres on the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more here on TexAgs Live. Right now, when it comes to your financial decisions, having the right advisor makes all the difference in the world. And Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors is an independent fiduciary firm working with clients all across Texas. And their focus is on advice, not commissions or sales quotas. They want to take care of you and your needs. Their team includes 18 professionals with 8 CFPs and a CFA, and that level of experience helps ensure that your plan is built with care, clarity, and long-term perspective. What you need to do is visit their website to get all the information, paragon-adv.com, or call them up 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
I like to turn my mics on this show, or my mic. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So AT referenced a soundbite that I remember when it happened years back. It was, the 24 season, when Kansas, who, by the way, should have lost to, there was a couple of questionable decisions down the stretch. In fact, Bucky talked about it at his press conference. But they should have lost to Samford. Nick, is this the soundbite from Bill Self after playing them or before? It was right after. Okay, this is the one I remember. Here's Bill Self breaking down what it's like to go against Bucky Ball.
That's my first experience with Bucky Ball, and I'd as soon not play against it again for a while. But, it's a hard game for us with very little depth, and you got to play guys the entire game. And we knew it was going to be like that, and there's just never a break in the action where you can catch your breath. But first half, we should have been up more than 10. The way I thought we played better than to be up more than 10. The second half, when we got out ahead, then there's no question they were the dominant team after that. I think we played kind of not to lose, and then they played in attack mode. I thought they were great.
Attack mode. You're taking on a team tonight that likes to play in attack mode as well. I believe Oklahoma is averaging over 80 points a game. A&M obviously closer to the 90s. So it'll be a shootout. Don't expect for their star players to go silent like we saw them do before. It's going to be a shootout. I think A&M is fresh. They're playing with house money, but so is Oklahoma. Oklahoma winners of 5 straight. When we come back, Logan Lee here on TexAgs Live. We'll break it all down. See you in a bit.
TexAgs Live here, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Tournament day for the Ags. Logan Lee in studio. What's up, buddy?
Man, that just sounds good. Tournament day.
Yeah.
I wish it were like March Madness tournament style, not SEC. But I'm still happy that they're playing today.
I remember when we went to the NIT and we were shooting all those videos, and was it Times Square that we were staying by?
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was fun, but it was the NIT.
Yeah, it was the NIT. Where does the NIT play now? They don't do New York anymore, right? They moved on to, is it Vegas? I don't know, but we don't have to worry about that. Texas
Who cares about the NIT?
Right.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, okay. Well,
Indy's a fun place.
So what do you think, man? How the Ags have been playing? So 2 weeks ago, we weren't very happy, but we're happy again.
Yeah, I think they finished out conference play strong on the style that they needed to. They got back to their roots and the process, and they played the way that they had been playing to get to that point. I'm glad that they fought in Baton Rouge and came out with a win.
They could have just called it a day.
They could have. Especially at that point in the season, you could say, look, it's not our day. We'll go win some games in the tournament. Right. But they continued to fight, and that's just who they are, and that's who Bucky has coached them to be. And I was very pleased with the effort and the fact that they didn't lay down. And LSU gave them everything that they had, and A&M still came out on top. But you know what makes me even happier?
What's that?
The fact that I believe that A&M is in no matter what happens tonight.
Yep.
A lot of things helped them yesterday with the teams that lost. It's a weird bubble season this year.
It is.
I don't think the teams that are on the bubble are I don't want to say they're not good. I just think that they're not good. They're really not, and they've lost.
So Auburn's not good in your opinion.
They're just not consistent enough to be scared of them.
Oklahoma, same thing, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma, they're playing well right now, but I don't think they're a very good basketball team. Texas, they're a bad team right now. I think if Texas gets in, it is
on brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a bias towards, and this is probably human nature, but the committee is going to give teams that have a strong name or a strong history the benefit of the doubt. Whereas if you don't have a strong name or a strong history and you're coming on strong, the committee will look at them and say, yeah, they've had the last 10 games have been good. But look at what they did before that, and it's not okay. But if you have a Texas team who played well in the beginning and then their last 10 games they floundered, but it's Texas, and they always come in strong in tournament time, and so they get that benefit of the doubt.
But if A&M came in with Texas's resume, I would feel like they wouldn't get in,
without question.
At 9-9, 9-10 now, I don't think they're in. Especially losing, was it 5-7?
I still think they would be. I think if A&M had that record, it would be on the bubble. But they would have a lot of work to do tonight, tomorrow,
and against Arkansas.
Yeah, tonight, tomorrow, and then if they were to beat Arkansas, then they're in. If they were to play well against Arkansas, I still think they would. Maybe.
I don't know, man.
Maybe.
Not this A&M's schedule. I don't know if they would have.
True, not this A&M schedule.
Because A&M almost with 10 wins, if they would not have beat LSU, they would still have work to do.
Absolutely. But I think with A&M getting help from the teams that lost yesterday, I think they are in the tournament. But obviously, if they lay a goose egg tonight, the committee's going to look at them and just be the committee towards A&M. That's so
if A&M loses,
battered Aggie syndrome.
They go to 11 seed in your eyes if that happens, kind of thing. They drop that far, or what do you think?
I don't want to say that. I personally don't believe that, but anything's possible with the committee and Texas A&M.
Would you prefer an 11 seed or an 8-9?
Oh, 8-9's tough,
right? Because you know who you got in the next round.
I know,
right? It might be a short stay.
I don't know. I go back to
Who does the 11
Just
seed
win.
play if they win? It's usually a kind of a nice little.
What do you mean? Like the team they play or the seed?
In the next round.
In the next round, what seeding?
What ranking?
Would
what
it be
seeding?
a 3?
3.
Yeah. Okay. So a 3.
That was quick. Didn't even have to look.
He looked. He glanced.
I didn't look.
He did.
No,
the
he
math.
didn't.
He did the math in his head. He just memorized the PDF. All right. Who does the 4 seed play?
I'd assume then the 4. Or wait.
What? Maybe that's
4
smart.
seed.
You're right. He did glance. He did glance.
Definite glancing going on. Where were we? I had a train of thought of where I wanted to go with this. But bottom line, to me, they needed these last couple of games, and I still think they need one more. And I don't know if win is the right way to phrase it. Yes, they need it. Just for me to feel like, all right, we're so removed away, because you're talking about the last 10 games. Well, in the last 10 games, A&M, the last couple of games have looked good, and a couple of games in the middle of that, but there was a stretch where they didn't look so good. So I would like to be further removed from those, right? From those losses, get 3 straight wins. Maybe you beat Arkansas, maybe you don't. I would feel much better about that, just where the team is. But it doesn't really ultimately matter, I think, for their seeding.
But do you think that A&M didn't play well because of what they as players and coaching staffs were doing, or as the coaching staff was doing, or do you think they didn't play well because they were playing the top half of the SEC? I mean, they were playing
multiple
Florida,
things
they were
happened.
playing Arkansas, they were playing really good basketball teams that had a little more talent, a lot more size, and the same amount of athleticism.
See, I think the Missouri loss had a lingering effect, because that was a game we all thought they should have. And then when I'm watching the game play, even when A&M was up at half, I was like, I feel like Missouri's really good, right? Like I'm watching them play, like I don't feel like they I don't think they're the better team right now, right? Like, and they kept on clawing back, and so I think because of that, when you look at that schedule, and then I don't think they played necessarily great. Well, they didn't play well against Vanderbilt.
No.
I thought they looked okay against Ole Miss. I thought they looked okay against Oklahoma. So I think it's because of the Missouri game that I look at the bulk of that stretch of not being their best basketball. But then, I thought they played well against Arkansas, considering it's Arkansas. They did not play well against Texas. They looked bad against Texas. They obviously kicked butt against Kentucky, which was needed.
Yeah, but here's my thing. They lost the games in conference to, I think, who were better teams.
Yeah.
I don't think A&M was favored in any of those games. They lost to the better teams, the bigger teams, the more talented teams. But I go back to the Alabama game.
Mm-hmm. I thought they played really well.
They played fantastic against Alabama. Alabama just made some big shots. Alabama played the way that the Crimson Tide needed to play to get that win. But that singular game right there gives me the hope of A&M can play with anybody.
Yeah.
Florida, teams like Florida, teams like Arkansas, those are different level teams. But I think Florida and Arkansas are Elite 8 type teams. A&M, in maybe this is just my Aggie bias, but I believe A&M can play with any of those guys on a given night. I'm not saying that they're just as good as Florida. I'm not saying that they're
on the right night they can beat them.
They can play with them, and they can have a chance to win. I don't think it's a given like, hey, if they play perfect, they're going to win. I still think if they play perfect against Florida, they have to catch some breaks.
Yeah, like the big guys don't come on the trip, right?
I mean, they're all big though. Like,
yeah, but
what are we talking about?
Yeah,
like, they're all.
They bring the
big.
football team to play basketball. That would be their chance.
I think that they can play with them, and if A&M has a perfect night and the ball bounces their way, they could possibly get a win. Which for some reason gives me hope of, hey, could this be a second weekend team?
Right.
The style of play, I can't imagine the teams that they're going to be facing in the tournament trying to replicate that, and the coaching staff trying to explain the intensity and the pressure that goes on for 40 minutes in a 24-hour span.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Like, it's one thing to get them in round 1, right? But to get them in the second round, and I don't care if it is a 9 seed versus a 1 seed, right?
It's tough.
we just played the soundbite from Bill Self.
Yeah.
Like how hard it is to prepare for that style. And they don't. Yes, they can make phone calls and get scouting reports, and they have their own film.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. And you look at the first half of SEC play. It took 8 games for anybody in the SEC to figure out, hey, how do we combat this?
Mm-hmm.
It took them a while to figure it out. So you can understand it on tape, but how do you make your players understand if you're not ready on every single possession, starting from the initial inbounds pass, you're going to get lost. You're going to turn the ball over. How do you prepare a guard to be mentally tough enough to fight that pressure for 40 minutes? It's tough to do that in 24-hour turnaround. So if A&M can win that first game, second game, it's up for grabs, no matter who they play.
Yeah. What were they seeded last year? Do you remember, Cooper, what they were seeded last year, A&M?
It would have been an 8.
Was it an 8? Because I looked at that bracket, I was like, and even though I think they should have beat Michigan, they were up by 12 with 10 minutes left. I didn't like that matchup.
I didn't either.
I don't know who the matchups are, right? But I feel like I can see this team playing into the second weekend. A lot of things still have to happen. If they play like they played against Missouri, Missouri they played well. Let me take that back. Just Missouri was a bad matchup, in my opinion.
For sure.
It will come down to matchup.
Absolutely.
4 seed, okay. They were 4 seed last year.
Yeah, I was thinking back 2 years when they played Houston.
Yeah. And Houston, they played great.
Hold on, A&M was a 4 seed last year?
They're pretty good.
Wow. Oh, yeah. They had 15 seniors on the team with no one coming in after them.
Mm-hmm. And then the few that were still around, they left.
The guy right there on that picture did a great job recruiting for the next year.
You didn't have to point that out.
I mean,
yeah.
I told Savage I was going to point it out every time until it changes.
Sorry,
Nick.
ChatGPT or AI it. We'll change it. We'll just put a picture of Logan with 2 thumbs up.
No, don't do that.
So, all right. This Oklahoma matchup, third time to beat a team is very difficult. Nigel Pack had, 6 points last day. I think he's had 30 combined points in the 2 games against A&M, 6 and 24. That's going to be hard to replicate a third time. But how much can you read into past history when it comes to tournament time?
I mean, I feel like the season changes when it comes to postseason, and everything starts over. And you have a similar scouting report with new wrinkles and new waves and adjustments being made. At this point, it comes down to 2 things. Can the coaching staff come up with a different wrinkle that helps the team on both offense and defense? Mm-hmm. And 2, who executes their style of play better? And I feel like A&M, when making a couple of threes at the beginning of the game, can dominate the tempo of any game.
Yep.
Because if they get up, if they make a run, if they go on a 9-0 spurt, whatever it is, it changes the tempo immediately, and it gets the opponent on its heels trying to play catch-up ball. And that's hard. It's hard to change the tempo of the game when you're playing from behind, because when you're playing from behind, you obviously have to play quicker than when you want. You have to get buckets, you have to score, you have to press, you have to do everything. That feeds into A&M's style. And so if A&M can do that, I don't think the past history matters. If the Aggies can play their style and get off on the right foot immediately, tempo of the game is in their favor for the rest of the game.
If I said to you, Logan, tell me one player that has to play above what they normally do to ensure a victory. Is there a player you'd say, all right, because you know what you're going to get from Rashawn, right? So it's not him. Is it Ruben? Is it, who is it, Rylan?
That's a tough question, because above what they normally play, I don't know, because
it can mean many things.
Yeah, because Ruben, like, what he normally plays is that he makes 3 threes, or is he's been in a slump, and so if he only makes 2 threes, that's above. Like, are we talking about
if Ruben gives you 4 threes, or if Rylan scores 13 plus? Like, Are those, or is it maybe Pop? Is it Pop the way he's been playing recently? Like, if you had to say who's got to be the co-star to Rashawn for A&M to feel really good, and I think the way this team plays, it can't just be a co-star. It's got to be co-stars.
I would say Rylan or Zach Clemens. If Zach can play the way that he did in the last like 7 games, in that 7-game stretch that he was playing, and everybody falls in line, I think they win. Or if Rylan goes off and has 15 points, 6 rebounds, and no turnovers, all of a sudden this is an A&M team that's changed. But going back to what you just stated is, I don't think it's just one guy.
It could be multiple guys playing well.
But again, we talked about it. If Ruben can make 2 threes and the team, it not only boosts his confidence, but it boosts the team's confidence. Ruben's making threes, all of a sudden, Rylan, the weight is lifted off of Rylan's shoulders of making threes. He doesn't have to make all those shots, so there's not as much pressure. And so all of a sudden, if Ruben makes 2 threes, Rylan goes off and he makes his 2 or 3 threes. And then it opens it up, and Zach gets a couple extra shots off. And then Marcus Hill, that opens up the paint, and Marcus Hill gets 10 points in the paint at the basket. Like it's just a domino effect for this team. There isn't. I think that's the struggle for A&M when the pace gets slower and they need a bucket. There's not one guy that they say every single time, get it to him. He's our guy. He's going to score. There's not for Texas against A&M. There's not a Marks.
Right.
Get the ball in his hands. There's not a Cuff. We don't have that player on this team, and that's why if A&M gets down and in a situation where it's, hey, this is a must-have possession, who do you go to? You're kind of seeing who's hot in the game. It's not we're definitely going to him right there.
Do you think opposing coaches go into it saying, we've got to limit what Rashawn Agee does? Or do you think they go into it thinking, this dude's all effort, we got to just make sure somebody else doesn't go off?
No, I think they definitely look at him and say, we have to limit him. We've got to put a body on him. We've got to be physical with him. For their bigger post players, we've got to wall him up on the inside. Don't let he's going to come in and create contact. You've got to take the contact, stay straight up.
Right.
I mean, they focus on him. There's no question they focus on him. And I would be surprised if teams didn't start bumping him with a guard when the ball goes up to get a rebound, to limit his rebounds. I mean, he is a force on the boards, and I would be surprised if they don't start putting an extra guy on him to stop him, because it's not like Texas A&M last year where we're going to get 24 offensive rebounds. But when A&M gets an extra offensive rebound and an extra possession, that destroys the defense because of the style that they play. Right. It's up and down, and Agee creates havoc for other teams. They definitely focus on him.
All right, so come Sunday, when it's all said and done, what do you think A&M seed's going to be? The highest it could be, in your opinion? The lowest it could be?
I don't know. I despise the committee talk. Because
you don't know.
Because I'm not.
They don't control it, right? Like they
don't.
They can have a great run in the tournament and maybe not affect anything.
I was about to say, even if they win 2 or 3 games, they may move up 2 spots. If they don't win a game,
drop a spot.
They'll drop a spot. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement for them. They're in 8, 9, 10, 11 range, maybe.
Yeah.
Max. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that they're in. I think that's the thing for me is
we can breathe a little bit this weekend.
The goal was, hey,
get this team in.
Get this team in the tournament.
They're in.
I really do. I don't think with what happened yesterday, I don't think there's a way that they're not in. But me verbalizing that now
means that
I'm like, they're now the committee's just, they heard me. We're going to stick it to him.
That's how it works.
That's how I feel. I know that's not how it works, but that's how I feel it works.
We were convinced they were in.
Absolutely.
They won 7 in a row, and they went all the way to the championship
not
game, and they didn't get in. So
it's because we talked about it.
Yeah, it's our fault.
And now it's your fault again because you brought it up.
No, I asked the question. You answered it. It's on you.
You brought it up.
But
you started it.
Yeah, I'm a host. You're the analyst.
But you started it.
I'm pretty sure OB talked about it too at some point, and Luke definitely did.
Oh, we'll definitely blame them.
Yeah,
without question.
Logan, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. Ah, look. Can you see the picture right there?
Are you kidding me? What are we doing?
Can you see it? I don't think you can see it on TV.
Good.
I don't think you can see it. Oh.
You can definitely see it.
Oh, you can? Okay, good.
But if you can do it that quickly, you should be able to change the entire thing.
All right, we'll hit a break. Logan, thank you, buddy. When we come back, the Evangelist next on TexAgs Live. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the show coming to a close. We got about, another 25 minutes or so. Let's go to the Buppy's Cannery and Bartending Hotline. I don't know what it is about Nashville and lighting and screens, but it looks a little foggy in there. What's going on? Do you have the heater on? What's going on there, Luke Evangelist?
I don't know what to tell you. I've got it all the way down to 65 degrees. I do have a light. One of the only lights in the room is directly behind my camera. So that's kind of what we're working with at the moment here. It was either that or turn on the lights directly behind me, and I didn't want it to just be glowing. I was cognizant of the lighting.
So I understand that you guys took advantage of the Nashville nightlife last night. Anything you want to report back? How late were you out? How do you feel here this morning?
Yes. Well, when in Rome, you see the city that you're in and experience it. So we did go out on the town a little bit last night. Reports indicate got home at a reasonable hour and was up at a reasonable hour as well. So we had a good time. We had our fun.
Good. So I'm sure you are just having the best time. You love watching basketball. You got to watch a couple games yesterday. Takeaway from the Oklahoma win over South Carolina and then the Ole Miss win over Texas.
Yeah, I got there right as Ole Miss was putting the finishing touches on beating Texas. As every single team on the bubble seems to look like, they just look defeated. And Texas, similar to Indiana and UCF and SMU, were securely in the field a couple weeks ago. Now they're going to be sweating it out. So Ole Miss, they made that run in March Madness last year. They had the buzzer beater in Nashville last year, the game before A&M. So they seemed to perform well under Chris Beard in tournament settings, and it was pretty clear they wanted that one more. And then the second game I watched with the whole A&M team was there scouting the OU South Carolina game. South Carolina came out shooting abnormally well. You knew OU was the better team and the more fit team. South Carolina had some foul trouble. And so even though South Carolina was up 15 plus at one point early, it was all OU from that point on. And the Sooners really closed the game out strong. Of course, we know what it is with them. Their third time playing A&M. So as the keys for A&M is exactly what I saw from the game against South Carolina. It's Nigel Pack, it's Darion Reed, it's Xavier Brown. You got to slow down their big three, and South Carolina was not able to, and that's ultimately why OU went from down by double digits to winning by double digits.
In your opinion, if OU wins tonight, are they in? And is Texas in your opinion, as of right now?
My opinion is they need to shrink the NCAA tournament this year, and Texas will probably get in unless there's 3 bid stealers, which everybody should be rooting for. Akron to win the MAC, maybe Dayton to win the A10. So there's 3 bids from that league. The bubble is atrocious this year, which is why OU went from losing 9 games in a row to now they've won 5 in a row, and they are in that first 4 teams out. And if they beat A&M, they'll probably be right on the cut line. And depending on how much the committee weighs the games moving forward, OU could very well play their way into the tournament with a win over A&M and then maybe a win over Arkansas. But Texas will probably be in. They're in right now if the tournament started tomorrow. But as A&M fans know, you don't want to be in a position where you've lost early in conference tournament week and every other team behind you and around you gets to keep playing and keeps getting these quad 1 neutral site opportunities. OU gets that opportunity and could very well jump Texas if they beat A&M tonight. But the bubble is a total mess. There's going to be some horrible teams getting in this year, and you wish A&M would have gotten that, benefit of the doubt or surrounding situations when they were on the bubble a couple years ago and got left out. But unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles. And even though A&M was sweating out the bubble up until last week, you're looking back now and it's like, man, they probably would still be in comfortably even if they didn't beat Kentucky or LSU just because of how things have unfolded around them. Every single bubble team, it's like they've lost 7 of their last 8, 5 of their last 6. It's just a total mess right now. And so that's going to keep Texas in the field for now, and that's going to put Oklahoma within striking distance.
What about Auburn? You think Auburn can play their way in still?
They might be in the field right now. Like this is how atrocious it is right now that a team that's going to have 16 losses is either the first team out or the last team in. If they beat Tennessee, they'll be in the field. And it's ridiculous. Like that no case characterizes that more than what's happening with Auburn right now, that there's a legitimate possibility we're going to have a 16-loss team in for the first time ever. And it's not right, but at the same time, there's no other teams that really deserve to be in the field. So I guess Auburn's going to get thrown a bone and get in the field.
All right, Luke, let's talk a little more basketball specific with A&M on the other side. We'll do that here in a few minutes. Right now, the Rollo Insurance Group is they're my official insurance provider. They're fantastic. They're the official insurance provider of this show. This studio is named after Rollo Insurance. They're fantastic. 60 offices across Texas, but their headquarters are right here in College Station on Highway 6. Jason Jackson, the entire team is fantastic. And here's the difference. Like I say this about this is the beauty of living in College Station, but you don't even have to live in College Station to take advantage of Rollo Insurance. You want a small town feel when you do business, you get that with Rollo Insurance, where the CEO's right there. You can chit chat with him. You see him at all the events. He travels, texts me all the time about Aggie events. He's so good, whether it's home, business, or auto, or ranch insurance. Start a relationship who's going to put with an insurance agent who's going to put you and your family first. That's what they do there at the Rollo Insurance Group. They're going to find and get to know your specific situation and tailor and customize that plan for you. You can learn more at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Luke Evangelist is live in Nashville, Tennessee, here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Luke, I did want to talk basketball on the court, but just one other seating thing. What do you think is, like, in your opinion, of all the studying you've done years past and this year in particular, can A&M really get some wiggle room in their seating? Like, do you think, like, right now most places have them, a 9, some a 10?
Yeah.
You think they can move up to a 7 if they had a deep run in, or, like, are they pretty much like it kind of is what it is right now at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the pie is pretty much already baked for most of these teams, especially once you move past the bubble. They're not really going to see much changing in terms of seeding. And as we know, the games don't matter past Thursday night. Maybe if you have a massive upset on Friday, the committee will take it into account. But their contingency plan brackets are really only made based on some random team winning a conference title, right? Like Michigan last year is a good example of this. Well, obviously A&M fans know this from their own experience of getting left out despite making a run to the title game. But Michigan won the Big Ten last year and was a 5 seed when a lot of people thought they should have been a 4 because the committee didn't take into account multiple quad 1A neutral site wins they had in the final couple of days of that tournament. So as far as A&M goes, I don't even think beating Arkansas will get them up to an 8. I would be very shocked if it did. They would probably have to win Arkansas and then maybe Alabama, and even that might not even be enough. You'd have to have all the teams on the 8-9 seed line lose within the next 24 hours for that to really be a possibility. I think they're really pigeonholed into either being a 9 seed or a 10 seed just because they're either that last 9 seed or the first 10 seed. And you're not really jumping up 4 spots just by beating Oklahoma. And then maybe if they count it, beating Arkansas. So I don't know if they'll have any leeway or wiggle room. I think they're pretty much set right now where they are. If they were in the middle of the 9 line, I'd be like, yeah, maybe they could get there by beating Arkansas. But let's be honest, the committee's really not taking that game into account. Pretty much tonight is their last chance to make an impression on the committee, which is why a loss, maybe they get to push back to a 10, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But with a win, it's like, all right, yeah, A&M, we probably know they're going to be a 9 on Selection Sunday, regardless of what they do the rest of this tournament.
What would you prefer? All right, so if you could pick your seeding, it's got to be in the range, okay? It can't be, well, hey, I'm going to pick a 2. I pick a 1 seed. Like, in the range, considering if you're an 8-9 and you win, you've got a 1 seed on the other side, right? If you're a 10 seed, you get the 2 seed, right? And if you're 11 seed, you get the 3 seed, which in a way sounds kind of backwards, but whatever. What would you prefer for A&M, considering you're going to have to play hard teams regardless, first round, second round, but just if you could pick, if Luke Evangelist could look in the crystal ball and pick, what would you pick?
Right. So I said a couple weeks ago that my sweet spot for A&M is those 6 seeds between the 4 10 seeds and then the final 2 11 seeds that don't have to go to Dayton. So that's a 6 seed range right there. 6 places that are a perfect spot for A&M because you don't have to play a 1 seed and then you don't have to play your way into the tournament. It looks like they may have overshot that a little bit by finishing strong and all the teams around them collapsing. So it may be impossible for them to get to those final 2 11 seeds, but I still think there's a chance for them to realistically get a 10. You know, I root for this team to win every game. I'll never root against them. Obviously, that's not part of the job description. We all want A&M basketball to win games because we get to stay here longer and cover the team. But it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them to lose today because the silver lining would be they're probably getting a 10 seed, which means you get a 7, which would be an easier path to the second weekend playing those 2 seeds. Obviously, we know what is awaiting on the 1 line. It's Michigan, Duke, Arizona, and Florida. All 4 teams have elite size that A&M will not be able to contend with in this year, in this iteration of buckyball. So a more favorable matchup for them, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but a more favorable matchup would be somebody like Houston, simply because they don't have the elite size that these other teams do. You're going to have to contend with their defense and their guard play. But I'll take my chances with A&M's guards up against those teams like Houston and Michigan State and Illinois on the 2 line, as opposed to playing the dream team of 7-footers that awaits on all 4 of the 1 seeds. And that's not even getting to the 7 or 8 difference. There's really no difference between the 8 and the 7. So it's not necessarily that big for the first round matchup, but I think we all have eyes on what would it take to get past the first weekend. And there is a massive distinction between playing a 1 or playing a 2 this year, especially for A&M's sake, considering they struggle against size. I don't think anybody wants to see Michigan or Arizona, or, I mean, they probably wouldn't get Florida, but Florida. You'll take your chances with other matchups this year.
Luke, let's humanize this for a moment. How cool is this experience for Bucky from your perspective of knowing him the last year, and the fact that he, I don't want to say grew up, but has gone to Nashville several times as a spectator, as a high school basketball coach. He has relationships with coaches in the field that are coaching right now that he has seen make some high pressure calls there. To now be in that position, I know the ultimate goal is the NCAA tournament and what you do there, but just because it is kind of like a moment realized for a coach on his way to the bigger and better things.
Yeah, I mean, this entire 6-year journey for Bucky has probably been surreal, so much that he has to pinch himself every other day. It's just, I mean, he was coaching high school when I was in high school 6-7 years ago. So it's definitely surreal for him to be at the SEC tournament, playing and coaching against coaches that he grew up watching. He told a really funny story after the press conference about an interaction he watched with Coach Cal when he was younger, coaching at Kentucky. And if A&M wins tonight, he'll get to coach against Coach Cal pretty much in the same exact spot that he was watching him a decade and a half ago. So it's obviously a really cool experience for Bucky, but he's definitely not fazed by it. It's just kind of what comes with the job. He's always maintained that he's just coaching basketball. Like, it feels no different than when he was the JV coach at Mountain Brook High School 20 years ago. He's just coaching basketball. It's an AAU game. It's a basketball game. It's a high school, college, mid-major, or Power 5 game. It's all the same to him, but I can't imagine that he's definitely going to have a moment where he's like, this is pretty cool being in Nashville coaching the SEC tournament. But I think it would really hit more when he's coaching that first NCAA tournament game. And this is also, I have to imagine, a different feel for him this week, because this time of year, he has to coach for his life, essentially, in a mid-major one-bid league where Samford could run through the SoCon in the regular season, but none of that matters if you have one off night in the conference tournament. I'm sure he's having a great time this week knowing that he gets to breathe easy and his life isn't on the line. They've done their work to lock up a bid, and hopefully his team plays free too, because we've seen this team take on the characteristics of Bucky. They play with spunk, they play hard, they play for each other. Hopefully they play free this week. We've been seeing a lot of pressure on them for the last couple of weeks. I would love to see them play not necessarily with less intensity, but with just a free nature and less pressure around them. And hopefully Bucky's coaching with a lot less pressure, knowing that, you know, they've already done their work and their seating is pretty much already locked up.
Luke, what are the keys to tonight? You think to beat a team that you've already beaten twice, that's playing really hot since you beat them, right? Like you were their last loss.
Yeah, I mean, I was there in Norman for the last time OU lost, and it looked like that was probably it for Porter Moser, and they have rallied the troops. And a lot of that has to do with the resurgence of Nigel Pack. Look, I think it's remarkable that A&M has held him to 6 points in the last 56 minutes, and a lot of that has to do with Marcus Hill taking that matchup personally. And so we talk about Rylan Griffin and Rashawn Agee as the keys for A&M, but I want to see what Marcus Hill can do defensively on Nigel Pack. Odds are you're not going to slow him down a third game in a row, right? He started hot with like 24 points in the first 26 minutes against A&M and has 6 points since then. I'm not anticipating that that's going to happen for a third game in a row. Porter Moser is going to draw some stuff up for him to get hot. He had 24 points last night. So the key for me is, what can you get from Marcus Hill and Ali Deba defensively, who are going to draw some tough assignments tonight? We talk about A&M's offense. Yeah, I want to see if they can shoot the ball well on the neutral rims, on a neutral court, on a court they haven't played in yet, on a NBA bigger arena than they're used to playing with, different depth perception, different sight lines. We all want to see them shoot the ball well, but ultimately, when you're playing a team that's hot and has already played there and is used to how that court is playing, you're going to have to slow them down defensively. So to me, the key is Marcus Hill slowing down Nigel Pack, and then what can you get from Ollie Deba on a Tay Davis or Darion Reed?
What about the bigs? How's the health of the bigs? Jamie Vincent, somebody asked about him in the chat.
Yeah.
Fetty. Like, there's just talk to me about, especially considering this is going to be hopefully a longer stay where you're going to need some bodies.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Vincent rolled his ankle a couple weeks ago, and you saw him pop up on the injury report, but he's good to go. It's just you've been seeing Fetty play over him more because Fetty was really massive for Texas Tech's run last year, and you're just hoping that for all the resources you put into acquiring him that he can just snap out of it at any moment and just be an offensive rebound machine. So that's why they've been going to Fetty more. And you also can't play Rashawn Agee 40 minutes a game in tournament setting. He just played 45 minutes against LSU in triple overtime. We all saw what his body looked like at the end of that game, barely getting up and down the court, but still making plays when you need him to. You would love to not have to rely on Rashawn Agee for 35 minutes a game moving forward the rest of the year. And so can you get 10 minutes a game from Federico and Jamie Vincent? That would be great, and I think you're going to see them play more in this tournament setting because, once again, A&M, this is their last chance to experiment and get some guys minutes that otherwise wouldn't get minutes, right? That rotation is going to shrink when it's win or go home. But you've got a good testing ground today to maybe play Jakari Lane a little bit more to get him figured out. But that's definitely going to be something you see with the bigs. I would suspect that Fetty and Jamie Vincent get some more minutes today. And let's see if they can play well and be instant impact bigs. And if not, you're going to have to rely heavily on Zach Clements and Rashawn Agee.
That is Luke Evangelist there from Nashville. Luke, enjoy the trip, man. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the show.
Of course, looking forward to it. And we're excited to be here and cover the games.
Thanks, bud. Good work. That's Luke Evangelist. We'll hit a break. We'll come back, find out what's on TexAgs today, and get to some commentary there on the YouTube and TexAgs Premium chat right now. Bryan, College Station and surrounding areas. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you owe it to yourself to check out our good friends at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. They're stocked up and ready to deal on everything that they have on their lot. They're locally owned. They have an Aggie alumni team, and they want to take care of their customers. They have great value when you go there, too. When you buy a car from there, you're going to get free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Stop settling for big city prices. Come to a small market town that's going to take great care of you, and you're going to feel that difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Remember, it's on Highway 21 in Caldwell and online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson. I read a comment online a moment ago that I found kind of funny after the conversation you and I had. You had mentioned that I pick on you on air, but I don't really pick on you off air. Others may pick on you off air more than they do on air. And I read a comment that says, guys pick on their friends as social commentary, but don't mean it. And women praise their friends, but don't actually mean it. That's the difference between men and women. Do you believe that or not? I'm not co-signing that. I'm just asking Cooper Patterson's opinion.
I don't know any study, but I feel like it's probably more common. I also don't know. I know women tend to gossip a little more, but maybe that's gossip me saying that about them. So
yeah, so you know what? Send your hate mail to cooper@texags.edu. Anyway, I made a fake email address, by the way. Don't email that. You have what's on TexAgs today?
On TexAgs today, mostly basketball coverage because we are on site in Nashville. Well, not we. Luke and Olin are.
We as a company are, though.
We as a company. They have articles about the game against Oklahoma tonight. We also have an Oklahoma scouting report by Tom Schubert. Unfortunately, he's not in Nashville. We already have a read report out from Luke Evangelist from yesterday. We will have live and post-game coverage for tonight's matchup against OU. There's also going to be plenty more premium coverage as long as the Aggies are in Nashville. So if we keep going, keep winning, we're going to be there covering it as much as you need. We also have recruiting articles from both Bronny and Jason Howell, who we love Jason Howell. We also have NIL interviews later today from softball players Talon Edwards and AK-47 Ariel Kowalewski.
Thank you very much, sir. You got some commentary to read here, right?
Yeah, I've got a comment from James Ellis. He said it. He must believe it real much. He put it twice.
Okay.
The basketball team should be rested. If Hill and Clements get back on track, look out, which is similar to what Luke was talking about with Marcus Hill.
Yeah, Marcus Hill defensively is the key. I don't think it's offensive, but he had that stretch where he was scoring a lot of points. They weren't winning those games, which I thought was strange. It wasn't because of Marcus Hill was scoring. Others were not scoring. He had to take some of the brunt of that offense up. But if you get him going too, both as a two-way player defensively and offensively, it could certainly make a big difference for them in this Nashville run. What else?
We also have a comment from Yeoman. He said, how about all students have to meet the same criteria to enter a college? No exceptions for student athletes. If they can't meet the standards, they don't get in. Go back to meritocracy, talking about eligibility, players, their requirements as student athletes, kind of going back to McGee's segment.
Look, you and I were talking off air about this. I know it's not realistic. I know people, even in high school, pass classes that they probably shouldn't have. I'm not talking about that. I do think, though, if you're a student athlete, you should be a student athlete. Maybe you don't care if you get a C. Maybe you have no self-pride, right? Maybe your parents didn't cuddle with you enough as a little kid, right? Get good grades, play great sports, be the best version you can be in everything in life, right? But there should be a minimum standard of what we expect. I feel like Jocko at the moment. There should be a minimum standard of what we expect from our student athletes. If they're going to say they graduated from A&M or went to A&M, we should have it. And I think A&M does a good job of that, but I think all of college sports should do that.
Do you remember what Cardale Jones said?
Remind me.
They're not here to play school. They're here to play football.
And I'm here to say goodbye. Louis Bellina, I believe, is next. TexAgs Live. See you.